The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over.
As President Donald Trump once again hikes tariffs around the world, including here in Canada, now a 35% tariff on all non-CUSMA compliant goods.
Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the price of your groceries, your rent, even the gas you put in your car has suddenly skyrocketed. Now imagine the reason isn't a natural disaster or a shortage, but a decision made thousands of miles away in Washington, D.C.
We are in intensive negotiations with the Americans and in parallel preparing reprisals if those negotiations do not succeed.
A decision that was supposed to make America stronger, but instead, it's tearing apart wallets, businesses, and even long-time alliances. What if I told you that the United States, once the world's economic powerhouse, is now drowning in $37 trillion of debt, fighting a trade war it might actually be losing? And the winner isn't China, it's Canada. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will completely change how you see the future of North America. As President Donald Trump announces yet another global tariff hike, this time slapping a 35% penalty on Canadian goods, the impact is immediate. Everyday items like baby strollers, spray deodorant, fire extinguishers, even simple furniture, all suddenly cost more to import into the United States. What was meant to punish Canada has become a ticking time bomb inside American households.
Baby strollers, spray deodorant, fire extinguishers, and furniture. All of these items are now going to be more expensive to import into the United States.
And just as these tariffs were rolled out, the U.S. Treasury quietly confirmed something alarming. America's national debt has officially crossed $37 trillion, a number so massive it now equals 141% of the nation's GDP. To put that in perspective, that's a debt ratio not seen since World War II. And unlike in the past, this time, America doesn't have the same industrial engine to climb out of the hole. Economists are calling it the perfect storm. Inflation still hovers above 6.4% year over year, gas prices are back over $5 a gallon, rents in major cities are up double digits, and credit card delinquencies have just hit their highest rate since the 2009 recession. For American families, it feels like a slow, grinding squeeze.
National debt is now at a record $37 trillion. That's according to the latest Treasury Department report.
Paychecks stay the same while bills keep climbing higher. Sarah Martinez, a teacher from Ohio, put it bluntly, "My grocery bill has jumped almost 18% since June. Milk, bread, even cereal. Everything costs more, but I'm not earning more." She's not alone. A nationwide survey revealed that 68% of American households now say food and utilities are their top financial stress. That's not just numbers. That's millions of families across the country tightening their belts and wondering what they'll have to give up next. But it's not just households. Businesses are hurting too. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce released a report estimating tariffs have added $1,200 in extra costs per family per year. Manufacturers are seeing shortages of steel, auto parts, and electronics that once flowed smoothly from Canada. Thomas Reynolds, CEO of a Michigan company auto parts supplier, didn't hold back. This is a classic case of shooting ourselves in the foot. Some of our biggest clients are already moving production to Ontario just to escape the penalties. Think about that. American companies, the backbone of U.S. jobs, are packing up and moving to Canada. Not because they want to, but because Washington's policies are pushing them out. Meanwhile, Canada, expected to buckle under the pressure, has done the exact opposite. Instead of retreating, Prime Minister Mark Carney stood firm, declaring, "Canada will not negotiate under duress. We will chart a course that serves our long-term national interest." And he wasn't bluffing. Canada immediately began diversifying trade routes, redirecting exports through Vancouver, Halifax, and Prince Rupert. Even more strategically, it deepened ties with Mexico, forming billion-dollar partnerships in rail, energy, and renewable infrastructure. This wasn't improvisation. It was long-term planning. Canadian pension funds, controlling over $2 trillion in assets, began financing new infrastructure across North America. Mexico's deputy trade minister summed it up best. "By aligning with Canada, we're building supply chains that bypass Washington's volatility." Perhaps the most overlooked card in Canada's hand is energy. The U.S. still imports 3.5 million barrels per day of Canadian crude. a supply chain locked in for decades thanks to specialized refineries and pipelines. Canada knows this. Economists call it their quiet ace. While Canadian energy revenues are surging, bringing in a record 160 billion Canadian dollars in just the first half of 2025, U.S. energy companies are cutting staff and delaying projects. For every step America takes back, Canada is taking 2 steps forward. So here's the reality. What began as a bold move to make America strong again has left its families squeezed, its companies restless, and its debt skyrocketing. Meanwhile, Canada, the neighbor Washington thought it could pressure, has turned tariffs into opportunity, rewriting the balance of power across the continent. And this is just the beginning. Because the real question isn't whether America can survive this storm, it's whether it can afford to lose its place at the head of the table. The trade war didn't just hit families and factories, it struck directly at America's pride. Canada launched a counterattack, slapping a 25% tariff on U.S. steel exports worth $12.6 billion Canadian dollars, another 25% on aluminum shipments valued at $3 billion, and $14.2 billion on consumer goods ranging from tractors to refrigerators. This is not about escalation for escalation's sake, declared Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland. This is about defending Canadian jobs and showing Washington that betrayal has consequences. American business leaders were stunned. They expected Canada to compromise, not retaliate. Suddenly, supply chains that had held North America together for decades began collapsing. Contracts became useless. Shipments sat rotting at the border. In Michigan, logistics manager John Walker admitted, "We had to renegotiate at double the cost." Some deals just died on the spot. Even Canadian companies felt the shock. Marco Duca, a construction manager in Windsor, Ontario, confessed that a $150 million project ballooned to $180 million overnight. Steel and aluminum, the backbone of skyscrapers, cars, and factories, no longer flowed freely. Economists warned the fallout could drag both economies into recession. Then came the second front. In April 2025, Canada quietly ordered liquor retailers to pull American bourbon and wine from their shelves. Overnight, rows of Kentucky bourbon vanished, replaced with Scotch, Chilean reds, and Canadian craft spirits. For Canadians, it was politics in their grocery baskets. But for America, it was devastating symbolism. Bourbon isn't just alcohol, it's culture, tradition, and a $9 billion industry supporting over 200,000 jobs. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear raged. "This feud has nothing to do with our distillers, yet they're being sacrificed." He was right. U.S. liquor exports to Canada collapsed by 62% in just 6 months. For Jack Daniel's and Woodford Reserve, it wasn't just lost revenue, it was the risk of being forgotten. Toronto bar owner Johnny Rafferty put it best. Customers switched to Canadian whiskey. Once habits change, they rarely come back. By August, U.S. steel exports to Canada were down 45%. Kentucky distillers were bleeding. Workers in Pittsburgh saw shifts cut in half. Even American senators admitted the strategy was backfiring. Meanwhile, Canada turned defiance into unity. Social campaigns like Buy Canadian exploded online, with millions proudly rejecting U.S. products. Polls showed 91% of Canadians wanted permanent independence from American imports. The message was clear. This wasn't temporary. It was structural. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told Parliament, "The trust that underpinned our economic relationship has been broken. This is a new era of independence." And here's the shocking truth. While America bleeds billions, Canada and Mexico are quietly building the kind of trade empire the U.S. once dominated. But this is only phase 1 of their rise. In the next video, I'll reveal the industries America is about to lose forever, and the massive trillion-dollar opportunities Canada is grabbing before anyone else. So ask yourself, do you want to be the last to know or the first to profit? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell, because missing the next update could cost you more than just curiosity. It could cost you the future.